this is the second lecture of chapter 4 Exogenetic processes part 2। पिछले चैप्टर में हमने पिछले पार्ट में देखा कि कौन से नए टाइप के लैंडफॉर्म्स फॉर्म होते हैं एक्सोजेनेटिक प्रोसेसेस के वजह से अर्थ के सरफेस पे। तो उनमें से पहला था इरोजनल वर्क की वजह से तैयार होने वाले लैंडफॉर्म्स, द वर्क डन बाय द इरोजनल वर्क ऑफ द रिवर्स एंड विच टाइप ऑफ डिफरेंट लैंडफॉर्म्स वर फॉर्म्ड। So we have seen there were gorges that are canyons, the V-shaped valleys. Then we have seen different types of such as the flood levees, flood plains, and deltas. So in this particular part, that is the part 2 of this lesson, the exogenetic process, we shall be discussing the work of the glaciers and the different types of landforms formed because of that. Now see, in regions where the temperatures are generally below freezing point, precipitation is in the form of snowfall। तो ऐसे रीजन्स के बारे में बात करते हैं जहाँ पर टेम्परेचर्स 0 डिग्रीज मतलब फ्रीजिंग पॉइंट मतलब 0 डिग्रीज के नीचे गिर जाता है, तो वहाँ पे प्रेसिपिटेशन का मतलब है बारिश, वो स्नोफॉल के रूप में हो जाती है। तो लेयर्स ऑफ द स्नो अक्यूमुलेट ऑन द अर्थ सर्फेस बिकॉज ऑफ स्नोफॉल। तो ये जो लेयर्स रहते हैं एक दूसरे के ऊपर चढ़ते जाते हैं, तो एक लेयर के ऊपर दूसरा लेयर बनता जाता है। तो द हेवी वेट ऑफ दिस ओवरलाइंग लेयर्स मेक्स द स्नो मूव अलोंग द स्लोप्स। तो जब नीचे वाला वेट ऊपर के वेट से ज़्यादा हो जाता है तो वो खिसकने लगती है नीचे की तरफ, दे मूव। ओके, एट द बेस ऑफ द लेयर द स्नो स्टार्ट्स मेल्टिंग बिकॉज ऑफ द फ्रिक्शन and the pressure from above. So to understand this following thing, we see here that there are many layers of snow. The light blue color are the different layers of snow and the friction is shown in the red color, while the blue color, the dark blue color, is that layer which is at the bottommost line. And because of this, because of the overlying layers, the snow moves along the slope, and at the base because of the friction, this particular glaciers are actually the part of snow which is the belowmost, it starts to moving. Okay, like the river, a glacier too carries out the work of erosion, transportation, and deposition. We have studied in the previous chapter before, that is chapter 3, the exogenetic processes part 1. We have seen that snow also plays an important role in the work of erosion. The same type of work we are going to see here in this part. So the erosion work of glaciers. So what type of erosion does the glaciers do? Okay, see here, though its velocity is less, the mass of the ice is more, and hence the glacier erode its bank and its bed on a larger scale. So normally the speed of the river, normally the speed of a free river is actually too much and it erodes, but here the velocity of the glacier, that is because of the mass, the ice mass, the speed is quite slow, but however because of being so much mass above, it starts to erode the banks of the river and it spread on a large scale. The erosional work of glaciers produces landforms like cirques, arratis, awns, U-shaped valleys, hanging valleys, and rocky mounts or sheep backs. So these are different types of mountains which are landforms which are created because of such hard mass. तो हम लोगों ने देखा जब रिवर्स भी एरोजन का काम करते हैं, लेकिन रिवर्स में कैसा होता है कि वेलोसिटी ज़्यादा होती है, तो वो जब वॉल्यूम ज़्यादा होता है उसके वजह से बैंक्स घिसने लगते हैं। लेकिन यहाँ पे हम देखेंगे ग्लेशियर्स में उसका वॉल्यूम, जो आइस का वॉल्यूम होता है वो बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, वेट बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, इसके वजह से भी वो अपनी बैंक्स को अपने आप ही इरोजन करना चालू कर देते हो। तो डिफरेंट टाइप के लैंडफॉर्म्स कौन से फॉर्म हो जाते हैं? सर्क्स होता है जो आइस के बड़े बड़े डोम शेप रिवर्स में चलते रहते हैं, फिर आरिट्रीज है, हॉर्न्स है, यू शेप्ड वैलीज है। यहाँ पे देखा गया इस पिक्चर में, इस पर्टिकुलर डायग्राम में हम देख सकते हैं कि हॉर्न्स किसे कहते हैं, सर्क्स किसे कहते हैं, फिर हैंगिंग वैलीज होती है, फिर रॉशी माउंटेन्स और शीप बैक्स जिसे बोलते हैं हम, उस टाइप के होते हैं। तो हम देखेंगे द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड डिपोजिशन बाय ग्लेशियर्स। ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का मतलब है किस तरह से वो अपने आइस के वॉल्यूम को कैरी फॉरवर्ड करता है, डिपॉजिट मतलब कहाँ पर डिपॉजिट हो जाता है। सो लेट अस सी दिस, द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड डिपोजिशन वर्क ऑफ द ग्लेशियर्स। सी द ग्लेशियर्स कैरी सेडिमेंट्स विद देम सिमिलर लाइक द रिवर्स, ओके, बट दीज सेडिमेंट्स आर कॉल्ड मोरेन्स। क्या बोलते हैं हम लोग? मोरेन्स कहते हैं। Depending on the location of the deposits, moraines can be divided into 4 types. अभी moraines कितने टाइप के होते हैं? 4 टाइप के होते हैं। So the four types of moraine कौन से first type of moraines are known as the ground moraines. In this particular diagram we say that the ground moraines must be here somewhere from where the origin starts, okay, of these moraines. The sediments that place where from the moraines get collected the first time. Then we have the lateral moraines which are coming from both the sides, okay. So in this is like a glacier bed. Okay, these are have lateral directions. Then we have medieval moraines means when the both the lateral moraines come and form into one stream. ये छोटे छोटे जो स्ट्रीम्स बन के एक बड़ा स्ट्रीम बन जाते हैं वो. और टर्मिनल मोरेन्स इज दैट पार्ट वेयर both the what if say whatever moraines or whatever dirt or what you say sediments are collected get fixed at a particular point, that is known as the terminal moraines. So observe the figure 4.2. The depositional work of glaciers produce landforms like drumlins and eskers, etc. So let us understand with the help of the diagram what are drumlins actually. See, the below dark portion is actually the part of land which is below these glaciers, and these arrow marks are those this is the actually direction where the glacier is flowing. So we can see that there are some particles which are getting eroded because of the movement of the glacier. So these are known as drumlins glacier. So here in the diagrams we can see clearly the different types of landforms caused because of the glaciers. We have the U-shaped valley. We can see it's because of the shape of it is known as U-shaped valley. Then we have the hanging valley. यहाँ से अगर हम देखेंगे तो यहाँ से कोई पोर्शन ही नहीं है. Okay, it's between the U-shaped valley there is an hanging valley. Then we have the lateral and medieval moraines. It is shown here. This is the river, glacier river. Okay. Then we have the next time, this is the eskers. We can see it's like it's looking like there's a drought in this particular area. Okay, because of the ice which was carried away, उसके वजह से बड़े बड़े गड्ढे हो गए. Then we have the drumlins here. See, this is the Roche mountains. You can see the big part of mountain, as if the big part of mountain was cut off, and because of that this particular after the what you say snow melted away, this type of thing is formed. Then we have the drumlin. See, there is a smaller example, unlike the diagram we have the example of a drumlin. How does a drumlin look? Okay, so this was what do you say the landforms caused because of the glacier. As you know, because of the new syllabus this particular thing is cut off from the syllabus this year, so this thing we are not going to study. So the next type of landform is produced, it is because of the wind, erosion by the wind. See, you have learned earlier that the movement of air is called wind. When the air moves at a greater speed, it is known as wind. We know that wind is a gaseous agent of erosion. Okay, it's the gaseous agent, मतलब वो गैस के फॉर्म में erosion करता है. हमको पता है जब कोई एयर ज़्यादा स्पीड से बहता है तो इट कैन कट रॉक. सो वी कैन सी द एग्जांपल नाउ. सी द इरोजेशनल, द ट्रांसपोजिशनल एंड द डेपोजिशनल वर्क ऑफ विंड इज मोर प्रोमिनेंट इन डेजर्ट्स एंड सेमी एरिड regions. We have studied about this in the chapter 3, the exogenetic processes part 1. It is known also as the mechanical weathering. We know that at dry places the mechanical weathering works at a greater extent. So this is the example of that. See, as mechanical weathering occurs on a large scale here, powdered rock and sand spreads over a large area. There is hardly any obstacle in the transpositional work of the wind. ट्रांसपोजिशनल का मतलब यहाँ पे होता है कि जब इसका एरोजन होता है तो इसके छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल्स वो विंड के साथ ही उड़ जाते हैं कहीं और दूसरी जगह पे. ओके, सैंड पार्टिकल्स आल्सो गेट ट्रांसपोर्टेड अलोंग विद द विंड एंड दे आर कैरीड ओवर लॉन्गर डिस्टेंसेस एंड आर डिपोजिट where the speed of the wind reduces. So this particular thing is known as the transpositional work of wind. It is not only eroding it, but it is also carrying the particles of the wind with it. Okay, in this way the wind does the work of erosion, that is it cuts the rock, it transports it and deposits it. Wherever the wind is very less, it gets deposited there. So thus we come to know that the wind does the three types of work of erosion. That is, the first is erosion, cutting of the rock, then is transporting the particles with that and depositing it at a place where the speed of the wind is less. So now we will see the next. So the next point is yes, here wind carries small sand particles, small pebbles, etc. along with it. These particles cause erosion along rocks coming in the way due to friction. So what actually happens, we'll try to understand with the help of the diagram here. So we can see here, see what happens, how does this works here, that I have tried to explain in my way. See here, these particles cause erosion along rocks coming in the way due to friction. See, now this is the direction of the wind which is flowing towards this direction, okay, and we know that already this particular waves of the wind, they already have smaller particles of sand which they have carried from a long distance. So when they come in contact of a solid object, the continuous hitting of these what do you say, wind, it causes friction which makes this particular structure to break, okay, and these particles are carried away with the particular speed of the direction of the wind wherever the wind is flowing, okay. This is known, this leads to the formation of mushroom rocks. So we can understand this particular structure of this particular rock is because of the erosion caused by the wind here. It also causes the deflation, hollows and yardans. See this particular two what is the diagrams, we can come to understand that how this deflection must have been carried out. This is because of the erosion of the wind, the speed of the wind, okay, and because of the particles that got carried away because of the wind. Now let us see the next one, which is the depositional work of the winds. Now not only the wind carries these particular particles of wind, it also deposit is somewhere, it makes settles them somewhere. So where is that? See here, sand particles that blow with the wind are of different shapes and sizes. Yes, these particles which are very fine are carried over large distances, while the larger ones get transported to shorter distances only. So these particular lines are very important, okay, these four lines are very important. So this particular line is very important. See here, those particles which are very fine are carried over larger distances. जिसका मतलब है कि विंड की स्पीड और विंड की स्ट्रेंथ लिमिटेड हुई, अगर पार्टिकल्स छोटे हैं तो वो बहुत दूर तक जाएंगे, लेकिन इफ़ द पार्टिकल्स आर लार्जर वंस दे गेट ट्रांसपोर्टेड टू शॉर्टर डिस्टेंसेस, अगर पार्टिकल्स बड़े हैं तो वो कम डिस्टेंस पे ही जा सकते हैं. See here, these sand particles get deposited in deserts and semi-arid climates. As a result, specific landforms are formed. Sand dunes, barcans, seeps, ripple marks, loess plains, etc. are formed because of the wind deposition. We know how the sand dunes is formed, right? In the desert region, there is what do you say? If you know the actually the working of the sand dunes, there are no sand dunes at the same spot, okay, because in the in the arid areas such as the desert where there is a continuous flowing of the wind, यहाँ पे कंटिन्यूस विंड के फ्लो की वजह से एक सैंड ड्यून हमेशा उसी जगह पे नहीं पाया मिलेगा. अगर ये सैंड ड्यून यहाँ पे है और अगर बहुत तेज़ हवा चल रही है तो इसका लोकेशन बदलता रहता है. इसके वजह से डेजर्ट रीजन में लोग खो जाते हैं. हम लोग को पता है वो कि उस स्पीड की वजह से सैंड ड्यून्स कंटिन्यूस बनते और टूटते रहते हैं, यानी रेत के टीले भी कहते हैं, ये बनते और टूटते रहते हैं, इस तरह से वो बनते हैं. सो thus we come to know because of what happens because of the depositional work of the winds. As we know, because of the new syllabus, this particular question has also been dropped out. These three diagrams, not these ones, the ones here, the pencil diagrams, these three figures have also been deducted from your syllabus. So here we finish with the two types of landforms created, one because of the glaciers and second is because of the wind. In the next part we shall be discussing the further details about the different types of landforms caused because of the sea waves and groundwater.